This is your First Alert Weather Breakdown, a deep dive into how weather works with meteorologist Evan Thomason.
Hey, good morning. Welcome on. It's First Alert Weather Breakdown time. Sorry about that little echo. Sometimes the audio catches through the speakers there, and I sometimes forget to turn it off. That's just how Friday works, kind of. Anyways, First Alert Weather Breakdown time. I'm meteorologist Evan Thomason. Sorry. I know sometimes I also don't speak into the mic. I am meteorologist Evan Thomason, here for the First Alert Weather Breakdown, your host. It is Friday. It's about time, number one. And, yes, number two, what a weekend it's going to be. Now, to be fair, it is certainly not going to be as perfect as last weekend. You remember last weekend, we had temperatures in the upper 60s, lower 70s, and for the afternoon, it was sunny both days. No chance of rain in sight. It's one of the best weekends you could have honestly asked for. So, to be fair, nothing too much, how do I describe this? Nothing is getting much more perfect than that. But I wouldn't say it's a completely disastrous weekend by all means. It's just it's certainly worse than last weekend. But it's not bad overall per se. I'd give it an okay/good. That's what I give it. I'd say give it good. It could be a little better, but you'll see here on the weekend forecast coming up. Our exclusive content for today is also going over the regional travel forecast. That's the wrong thing. We'll give you the agenda here this morning. There seems to be a common theme of me making mistakes, you know. I guess that's typical on Fridays. It's just little ones, though. Hopefully you don't mind. So, yes, we're going over your local forecast, obviously in store. We have a whole lot to go over in the local forecast that's happening over the next several days, from a huge drop in temperature to increasing the rain chances a great bit here heading into next week. We're going to talk about all of that and what we're expecting here in the 7-day forecast coming on up. And following that, we'll go into a weekend travel forecast, which includes looking south towards New Orleans for maybe those of you trying to go out to Super Bowl festivities, or even going to the game in and of itself. Maybe going east towards Jackson, going north towards Little Rock, or going west out towards Texas. We'll have that forecast for you in store on the First Alert Weather Breakdown. Now, before we get into the local forecast, just got a disclaimer something right now. I guess three things. Number one, let's just say, as I always say, this is kind of just a reminder. For those of you watching on YouTube, or if you want to hop on over to YouTube, that is the way you can communicate with me live while this is playing at 10:32. Right now, I'll be looking at the YouTube comments sparingly through this episode. Any comments, questions, things of that sort, let me know. And yeah, especially if they're questions, then I can answer them. And it makes it, as I said again and again, it makes it more of a two-way conversation, which I always appreciate. Because I am, yes, at the end of the day, just a man sitting in a corner. So you can do that. I guess number two, you can always follow me for weather updates. And if you have any topics you want us to discuss on the First Alert Weather Breakdown that go beyond what we have playing here for today, you can direct message me, meteorologist Evan Thomason. I also have some cool weather stuff happening over there, meaning I usually go over some cool weather headlines for the day and kind of showcase them out, and some different graphics there for you that go above and beyond the typical news show that you see every single weekday as well. And disclaimer number three, I could talk about this because this is a whole lot longer of a show, and especially for me, because this is basically the age-old question of what happens if you turn a news show into just weather, which obviously news shows are typically 30 minutes with commercials. That's essentially what this weather podcast is. 30 minutes with commercials of me chatting. Now, because it's Friday, first of all, disclaimer that I am tired. Now, you would think, yes, Evan, obviously you're tired. It's Friday. You've been through a work week. But I don't know. I don't know what it is about this today. I'm not going to disclose how much sleep I got last night. But let's just say it was not enough. And there's being sleepy on Fridays, and then there's being whatever the heck I'm on right now. I was going to show you my coffee cup, but it's too far away. Essentially, I don't drink that much coffee, and I think I'm on First of all, too much coffee for me is usually like a full cup, and I think I'm on 2 cups. Maybe not enough. I might need some more. I got to get my head in the game. This is the last part of my shift. We can get through this together. I can get through this for you. Oh boy, we're already off to a bad start. Hang in with me. I'm sorry. But we'll get through this slowly but surely. Okay. Now let's go into the local forecast. Enough chit-chat. All right. Skycam in Shreveport here as I'm pulling up my graphics. There we go. Matthews Landscape and Best Camera here. Beautiful sights in for Shreveport. Yesterday we had record highs, mainly because of how warm we were. Not just, from the warm air coming up out of the south, but it was also because there was a lot less cloud cover around yesterday than what was originally expected. Now, hold up. I'm going to get rid of this bug before I continue my sentence so you can... that's a little less of a distraction out of the way. There we go. So, yes, there was a whole lot less cloud cover around yesterday that really helped to amplify the temperatures. A lot more sunshine helped to really raise the temperatures above the bar. From what was set originally for it yesterday. High temperatures in Shreveport reached around 85 degrees. Overall, the big story behind everything is that everyone around the ArkLaTex reached a record high. Everybody. It wasn't just one town. It wasn't just 2. It was all 5 of our local recorded towns. All of them exceeded their record high temperatures for February 6th. It was really... incredibly hot, and just so you know what that means is we had temperatures into the mid-80s yesterday. Most of our record highs for yesterday were in the lower 80s. If that, Texarkana broke their record high by a solid 9 degrees. And these are not just records that stem back to, say, 2000 for the start of the century, but these are records that go all the way back to a century ago, just about. 20s, 30s, 1920s, 1930s, that kind of era. It's really impressive. So, do we think we're going to get on that trend again for today? Possibly, especially in areas like Shreveport where we're already starting to see more sunshine in throughout the day today. Texarkana, no, we're not. And most of that reason is because, you can see on the window well camera, we got a whole lot more cloud cover in for the northern half of the ArkLaTex. Now let's get to your big headlines here for the day today. We have warm sunshine in for most of the region, not everybody. One of the big changes in store here for today is that, again, not everybody's catching on the warm air. We actually have a little bit of some cool air clipping the northern half of the ArkLaTex here. We'll get to the current temperatures in just a moment. And then everything changes around here for your Sunday, Super Bowl Sunday. That's a big day. That's where our change happens in the ArkLaTex here over just 2 more days. 2 more days of solid, warm conditions that we can enjoy back in the ArkLaTex. Then you get into next week. Well, not only do we have cold temperatures coming back, we also have storms coming back. I know I've been almost a broken record this past week about, well, there's just another stray chance of rain here today, and then tomorrow, and then all week. No, next week we're expecting a whole bunch of widespread showers. This is the most important thing to look, or most impressive thing, I should say, to look at right now. Look at the difference in temperatures across the ArkLaTex. My goodness, 75 already in Shreveport. That's impressive enough for 10:30 in the morning in February. At this rate, we're going to exceed those mid-80s that we had out yesterday. But look at the temperature in Texarkana. Just Texarkana, for those of you who don't know, Texarkana is about only an hour, maybe 15-minute drive away from Shreveport. It's a difference of 22 degrees in just an hour drive. That's how much the cold front has come into the ArkLaTex. You can clearly see it. We have temperatures in the upper 40s still now into Queen and Idabel. You need a jacket out the door anywhere across southeastern Oklahoma or southwestern Arkansas. Now, some of this cold air is trying to clip into northeast Texas and maybe a little pocket of northwest Louisiana, Minden, down to 63, actually. Overall, there's a very fine line of where those cold temperatures are, and I think this is as far south as we'll see them go today. Because overall, the trend for where this cold front goes is northward, actually. It's gonna go meander back up to the north, before then slamming down south across the whole region so that we all get those cooler temperatures coming back into the region. So very impressive again. And this is not just what we're dealing with here locally with temperatures down to 53 in Texarkana. Look anywhere off to our north and west. It's still 39 in Oklahoma City at this hour. Temperatures overall in the mid-30s just off to our into states off to our north. This is the cold air we're bringing in here locally into the ArkLaTex for next week. So again, for tomorrow, that cold air kind of retreats a little bit farther back up to the north side, so I think we'll get most of that warm temperature coverage on everybody again, including Texarkana. Then you get into Sunday. That's our transition day. Well, I like to call it a transition day because we go from the warm air mass to the cold air mass coming in, and then the cold air mass is especially going to settle in here for next work week, probably mostly starting on Monday. We'll look at those numbers for what those temperatures are going to be looking like in just a little bit. But on top of that, we do have a little rain chance here coming over the next few days. It's just about a stray chance of a shower, and that's really it. We'll pinpoint that future track here in just a moment. But here's a look at your highs today. Pay close attention to this again. Highs are only up to around 60, if that, on the northern edge of the ArkLaTex, from Hope all the way over to Broken Bow. It's a fine line about how warm we're getting in Texarkana, I must say, because, again, the drive between Hope and Texarkana isn't even an hour, and yet we're having a 10-degree temperature difference in forecast. So I'm going to just go ahead and say that we don't have much of a forecast certainty. There's going to be a big what am I trying to say? Again, it's only an hour. It's only a 30-minute drive from, like, Hope to Texarkana. So for that to be a 10-degree difference in high temperature, overall, I'm just not seeing much confidence, I should say, in that area to get temperatures exactly to those amounts, especially when you ride that fine line between the warm air mass, which is definitely hitting most of East Texas with temperatures in the upper 70s. I'd be shocked, actually, if these temperatures didn't reach 80 degrees today. Shreveport, 78, but it's already 75, honestly, so you might as well put those highs up in the low to mid-80s like they were yesterday, actually. Future track, again, there is a straight chance of a rain shower possible for the rest of today. According to this future track, most of it's going to be found in northeast Texas and East Texas, probably around Longview today. But overall, I could see this straight chance of a shower hitting really anywhere in the ArkLaTex for the rest of today. Then you get into tomorrow, more cloud cover, just like today, with maybe a stray shower creeping in early for Sunday morning briefly, before that cold air filters on in. Yeah, and it's going to come in to a hurry. 84 degrees is the high on Saturday, and then a 23-degree temperature drop in high temperature between Saturday and Sunday. Rain chances are slim, but they're certainly not zero, so watch out maybe for a brief shower on any day. I wouldn't look for any of the days to be rained out per se, though. So, again, definitely worse than last weekend, as I mentioned way earlier, but certainly not the worst, so to speak. So, yeah, got that ahead for your Saturday and Sunday. All right, Super Bowl. This is the local forecast for the ArkLaTex. This is not the forecast in New Orleans, but this is the forecast during your Super Bowl watching time, whether you're doing it outside, tailgating, while you're doing it inside, driving to and from places. This is the temperatures kind of around the ArkLaTex. Again, Sunday is when we're cooling down. So for the afternoon hours, yeah, we only have temperatures in the low to mid-60s for Sunday afternoon heading into game time. By the end of game time, temperatures will be in the mid-50s, which we haven't even seen at all in Shreveport here this week. So certainly cooler. I think I'm getting that message across here heading into early next week. This is a long-range look at the future track, actually heading into next week. Again, just slim chances of rain here over the next few days, especially on Sunday morning. Then you get into more massive chances of rain. That's going to mainly happen between Tuesday and Wednesday of next week. But watch this next cold front coming through. This is what I'm mainly worried about. And there's been some signs on this in some of the models, is that this cold front's going to stay stagnant, meaning we're going to start with the widespread showers on Tuesday morning, and it's almost going to be like a fire hydrant, where this rain almost continues on top of the ArkLaTex nonstop all the way until Wednesday midday. We still have those scattered showers and widespread storms on top of the ArkLaTex before they finally move out for the end of the week. And as a result, that dumps buckets of rain. We're looking like 2 to 3 inches of rain just between Monday and Thursday. Because keep in mind, we only have a trace amount of rain, if anything, over the next 3 days. So, again, we're expecting somewhere in the ballpark of, yes, 2 to 3 inches of rain for the entire ArkLaTex just from the middle of next week alone. So, yes, not only is next week going to be rainy, it's going to be cold, which I like rain. I like cold weather. I don't like the two of them together. It's one of the least favorite times of weather that I really don't care for at all, and that's exactly what we have targeting our Tuesday and Wednesday. So not only do we have actual February coming back into the ArkLaTex, so to speak, but we also have rain, and a good amount of it. Again, 70% chance of showers here for your Tuesday and Wednesday. Only stray bits and pieces of rain are still coming on through here for the next 3 to 4 days. But I think most importantly, what everybody's going to be looking forward to is there's only 2 days left to enjoy warm temperatures. 84 tomorrow. It's going to be a hot, toasty one here for tomorrow, and then much certainly cooler into the day for your Sunday. Stark contrast between the 2 days overall. All right, that was a look at your full forecast here locally. Again, if you have any questions, YouTube is the way to contact me during the stream. Coming up next, we'll go over the regional travel forecast real quick. And, yeah, I'll see you then. For those of you traveling outside of the ArkLaTex, you can look forward to a regional forecast for wherever you're traveling. Coming up next. I'll see you after this. All right, welcome on back to the First Alert with a Breakdown. Thanks again for joining us. Hopefully you enjoyed the local forecast, and hopefully you make the most of the weekend. Again, none of your plans should be rained out. Just watch out for the big fall, or should I say kind of crash down to reality in the temperatures here between Saturday and Sunday. All right, so now that was for those of you staying within the ArkLaTex. Now for those of you traveling outside of the ArkLaTex, I did that last weekend. This weekend, I will not be traveling two weekends in a row. So, yeah, looking at our IR satellite here locally, things look nice. A little more cloud cover, certainly into Texarkana compared to Shreveport. We saw that earlier on those sky cams that we had in our local forecast here. Zooming on out on our picture, you can tell most of the wet weather and more of the significant storms are way off to our north. You can kind of see that way up into, say, Idaho, the Pacific Northwest. Some of that also raining on through areas way off to our north near Chicago, the Ohio Valley. The point is, away from the southeast corner of the United States, we haven't had anything massive in terms of storm chances here regionally over the last several days, which is good. But that could very well change. So again, while things look mostly fine all around the southeast, maybe a little bit of rain looks like that is in southern Alabama. Besides that, I mean, you're just seeing trace amounts around northern Georgia, Atlanta, and Tennessee, southern Missouri. You're not getting much, is the point, around the ArkLaTex here, at least for the moment. But going into the future track, again, I'm going to back this up, actually, so we can go through the whole weekend here. For the rest of today, things look to be bringing just a little bit of rain, but way off to our north here by tonight. And I think that'll clear out most of our regional areas, including Dallas, Little Rock, and Jackson. Then we get another round of cloud cover coming in here for tomorrow, but it looks like most of us do stay dry unless you're maybe out with a brief shower out towards Alabama during the day tomorrow. But you got to watch that cold front out on Sunday. Sunday is probably going to be the biggest troublemaker out of all of them. We got rain crawling through Tennessee in the northern parts of Mississippi and Alabama that goes into Georgia. That tail end of that system kind of barely clips the ArkLaTex. That's why we only have a slim chance of rain here locally from this system. I'm overall expecting only light rain. Notice there's no signs of any yellow or red on this map, indicating there's not much of a chance of considerable severe weather with this system, which is good news. This will crawl on through, maybe even hitting areas. In fact, let me zoom out. Actually, I cannot move the camera, but I will tell you what I can do. I can move myself. There you go. So you can see all of New Orleans by Super Bowl time on Sunday. Looks like most of that rain from that system actually fizzles out, and we're just left with a little bit of cloud cover around Super Bowl time. Not that it matters. They are in a dome. But for those of you traveling down to New Orleans around Super Bowl time, you should be fine. Then continuing on into Monday, that's when we build a little more greater rain chances here in early next week, and that could affect most of the southeast heading into next work week. So yeah, not only is the ArkLaTex getting a good considerable rainfall, but most of our regional areas are next week after, at least, again, I wouldn't say beautiful weekend, but cloudy weekend, but hopefully dry. Temperatures, wacky how wild they are, because you can tell which cities are underneath that cold front and which ones aren't. New Orleans, 70 degrees, 68 in Jackson. Meanwhile, cooler in Dallas and Monroe along I-20. The temperatures in the mid-50s around there. Yet Shreveport, in between Dallas and Monroe, is still in the mid-70s, despite cities off to their east and west both being in the 50s. Kind of crazy when you put that into consideration, honestly. Temperatures this afternoon, Dallas should warm a bit up to 68. New Orleans is almost reaching 80 degrees. So is Jackson and Houston. But Little Rock staying cool today. Only a high temperature of 50 degrees for this afternoon to get a big change up there compared to most of the regional areas. But I think most of us stay dry. That stays the case here for tomorrow. A little bit of fog here. Looks like waking us up on out the door for New Orleans on your Saturday. Oh, look at the high temperatures. My goodness. Lower 80s. We also warm up considerably in Little Rock, 74 degrees. I think the biggest change, again, you saw it in the ArkLaTex, the biggest change here locally was always on heading into Sunday. And, oops, that is the wrong thing. There we go. Biggest change is going to be happening into Sunday, and that's the same case. Little Rock looks like they have a chance of rain. Everybody else should just be cloudy, but much cooler for mostly everybody. Looks like our coastal areas, New Orleans and Houston, still stay pretty warm. But that cold front certainly hits Little Rock. You go from highs in the mid-70s down to highs in the low 40s for Sunday. That cold front's definitely going to be impacting also Dallas and Monroe, too, and maybe clipping a little portion of Jackson to get their highs at least down to 70 degrees here for your Sunday. All right, let's look at your regional travel forecast. Yeah, thanks for watching First Alert Weather Breakdown. We'll have a quick recap of this episode when we come back, and we'll see what you can look forward to in next week's podcast on the First Alert Weather Breakdown. We'll see you after this. All right, welcome on back to the last quick segment of the First Alert with a Breakdown. Thanks for another great, amazing work week. I try to never take this podcast or anything here for granted to begin with. I did want to say also thanks for all the wishes on the Happy National Weathers Person Day. That was also this past week. I received a good amount of notes on that from Facebook. That was really cool. For those of you just wanting to contact me, period, feel free to do so. Direct messages are open. You can always comment on my posts. It's open to you. Meteorologist Evan Thomason. Just hit me up there, and try to get back to you. Again, that's it for this week's worth of First Alert with a Breakdown podcast. We're off Saturday, Sunday, as we usually are, and then we'll be back on Monday at 10:30. Speaking of Monday at 10:30, we're going to go over a climatology forecast. What that means is we'll try to go over the long-term forecast. Now, heading into Monday, early part of next week, it is going to be much colder, to say the least. What I'm curious about is we knew this was coming back, but how long is it going to be sustained? Because to be fair, in our 12-day forecast, things are actually looking to warm up, but that doesn't start to happen until the following weekend after an entire work week of cooler than average temperatures, which again, we've been hyping throughout this podcast. So will that be sustained? Will we see maybe another chance for the S word? I don't think so, but you never know. We'll look into kind of some forecasts that go more in-depth with the 12-day forecast, more in-depth with looking at the rest of February as a whole, and maybe even see if we can get some hints as to what March and April will look like heading into springtime around the ArkLaTex. So that's what we're going to go and dive into for your Monday. As for today, you have a great one. Hasta la vista, baby. You enjoy the rest of your Friday and have a great one. And I will talk to you again on Monday at 10:30. Have a fantastic weekend. Have a fantastic Super Bowl Sunday as well. I'll be watching. I got no team I'm rooting for at all. Just watching it for the heck of watching it, and it's just for the fact of enjoying company of friends. That's what it really means to me at the end of the day too. It's really cool. All right, I'll see you Monday, 10:30. Have a great weekend. Be there, be square, and most importantly, be weather aware. All right? I'll see you Monday. Have a good one. Peace.